My name's Amber Bruce. I'm the bar manager here at the Keefer Bar. I've been here about 3 years. Bar has been open. We just had our 8-year anniversary. We are designed as a kind of apothecary-style cocktail bar in the heart of Chinatown in downtown Vancouver. So we'll try to use sort of some of the traditional Chinese ingredients in our cocktails based on a kind of classic style.
Nice. So you kind of led into one of my questions there. How much does the theme of Keefer Bar inspire its cocktail menu?
It definitely plays a role. When we first opened up, we had a practitioner of traditional Chinese medicine on staff to kind of inform what we were doing, flavor profiles, and the medicinal properties of some of the cocktails, our ingredients. We currently actually have one of our servers is studying Chinese medicine as well, so she's kind of been able to lend some of her knowledge from studying into what we do. So yeah, I would definitely say it plays a role. It gives us a great opportunity to explore ingredients and things like that too. So
What like flavors or other properties in cocktails do you look for in a really good cocktail? Like, what gets you really interested in a drink?
I think like if I were reading a menu, I'd be looking for things that kind of excite me, that entice, that I might not have seen before. Ultimately, when you're drinking something, like, balance is key. Like, that's the most important thing. Whether it's can you taste everything that you're reading on the menu, like are all the ingredients present in that cocktail, to balance of flavors, so like kind of sweet and sour, boozy, bitter, that kind of thing.
So one of the cocktails I noticed you have on the menu is I believe it's the Tokyo Drift.
Yes.
Yes, and that has some ingredients I've never seen before in a drink.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, do you want to kind of explain, like, I guess as much as you can, how that came about, or like how those were kind of discovered?
Yeah, for sure. That's one of our kind of, I suppose, one of their fresher, newer alumni cocktails. It's been around probably about 2 years or so now, when we got a Japanese whiskey on the market that was affordable enough to play with in cocktails. Japanese whiskey is a great type of whiskey that people are getting a little bit more into these days. How would I explain Japanese whiskey? They're very like specific about like the design and the style. So this one in particular is like a blend between grain and single malt. So it's like barley and different grains as well. It's not just like barley that you would typically find in a Scottish whiskey. So it's quite light on the palate. The whole cocktail itself is kind of designed around a Manhattan. So it's whiskey, vermouth, and bitters. We use an amber vermouth, which is kind of was a newer thing on the market when it came in about a year and a half, 2 years ago. It's got a really kind of nutty flavor profile with a healthy dose of the botanicals in there as well. To that we add a preserved kumquat gum. So it's like we steep preserved kumquats that we get up the road at a local shop. They release a little bit of the savory element. Their richness, kind of a little bit of a dried fruit flavor that you would probably find in the Japanese whiskey. And then to that we add sugar, so it's a really nice thick rich syrup, and we only add a couple, like maybe a bar spoon, maybe like 5 milliliters into each cocktail. And then to kind of balance it out, like sort of the salt and pepper of the cocktail, is like a tobacco bitters. I say tobacco in quotations because there's no actual tobacco in there. You wouldn't want that. Don't want to do that to people. It's awful. I've tried it. Unhealthy buzz. So we kind of have modeled the flavor of tobacco into like a tincture that we kind of dash into the cocktail to sort of balance everything out.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's nice. Oh, and then I forgot, we torch a sesame snap, kind of like a buri style, which like with a little hand torch, so it gives a great like toasted aroma that kind of leads you into drinking the cocktail.
You're talking about Japanese whiskey and how it has this very distinctive, unique, like it's unique to itself. we can
It's
say.
become its own style.
Yeah. So just how important is the base spirit in a cocktail, and how much does that influence, like, I guess either your decision on like what you're gonna make with it, or whether you're gonna like it if you drink it?
I'd say it's very, very important. Usually, the base spirit ends up being the largest volume of something that's in a cocktail. So by far and away, you're probably going to taste it the strongest out of everything else that's in there. Quality is incredibly important. You're pretty much only as good as your tools. So if you want to be putting like proper quality ingredients into your drink. So like for example, we only use 100% agave tequilas, not mixto tequilas, just because you're gonna taste the difference that it makes. I would say, yeah, beyond that, like every other thing that you're putting in that cocktail should be up to the same level of quality as the spirits as well. So for example, our ice machine filters the water before we get it. I mean, Vancouver water is fantastic, but good quality ice is really important in a cocktail. Freshly squeezed juice, fresh vermouth that's not been sitting on the back bar for forever, and then good quality homemade ingredients as well. I think one in particular, like base spirit, you always want to make sure you're using something good quality, like a premium spirit. But ice and water are two of the more like overlooked things they use in drinks. That's what's the difference between getting a great cocktail that you taste at a bar and like making a good cocktail at home. Is if you're using the freezer ice, it's gonna taste like your freezer. Off of our menu, I would probably have to say something tried and true, like the Chinatown Sour. It's one of our kind of more unique cocktails. It's based on an old classic called the Trinidad Sour, which is typically quite bitter and refreshing. This one includes overproof bourbon, fresh lemon juice, Fernet Branca, which is a bitter Italian Amaro, orgeat, which is an almond syrup, and then Astragalus, which is one of our locally sourced kind of weird ingredients. It's a root. It kind of looks like a tongue depressor, and it's got a great like kind of earthy flavor. So it really kind of it's like the salt and pepper again in that cocktail. It kind of balances everything out. It's a complex cocktail. It's not usually the one I'll give to maybe necessarily a beginner, but I'm always surprised when I do, and they're like, wow, this is really, really, this is great. It's still approachable, even though it's got a bunch of weird ingredients in it. So I would say that one.
All about balance.
All about balance, yes, exactly.
Well, thank you very much. Is there anything you wanted to say that I didn't ask you? It's an even harder question.
About cocktails, if you're looking to you're not, we have a lot of weird stuff on our menu. I would say if you've never had cocktails, don't be afraid to ask questions. It's dark and moody and we're playing loud music, but we're really happy to kind of answer questions and help. We also have a great happy hour that's on Sunday to Friday, where you can sample a lot of I think it's 8 different cocktails that we have on the happy hour from Sunday to Friday from 5 to 7, which is a great way to try out a bunch of our kind of Keefer alumni things and not break the bank at the same time. So kind of find out what you like if you're new to cocktails. So yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Robin.